Hello friends, in this video we are going to learn about the bones of the lower extremities. Now our lower extremities are formed of the two components. The first component of our lower extremity is called as the pelvic girdle. And the second component is represented by one pair of hind limbs. Now pelvic girdle is formed by the fusion of two bones, while as each hind limb has three parts. And each hind limb is formed of a total of 30 bones. The three parts that make our hind limb include, number one, the first part is the thigh, the middle part is the shank, and the terminal part is the foot. Let us have a look at the distribution of the bones present in these different parts. So here in this image, you can see one complete pelvic girdle. So this is the pelvic girdle here, pelvic girdle. And this part over here represents the bone of the thigh. So this is the thigh bone. This portion here represents the thigh bone. And the middle portion, these are the bones of the shank. So these represent the shank bones. And the terminal part over here, this represents the bones of the foot. So this is the bone, these are the bones of the foot. So let us now discuss them in some detail. So first we will now take the pelvic girdle. As far as this pelvic girdle is concerned, pelvic girdle is a basin-like structure which is formed by the fusion of two coxal bones. So pelvic girdle is a basin-like structure formed by the fusion of two coxal bones. Each coxal bone is in turn formed by the fusion of the three bones. So each coxa is formed by the fusion of three bones. The three bones that make each of our coxal bone are, number one, that's called as the ilium. Number second, that's called as ischium. And number third bone is called as the pubis. These three bones together form one coxal bone, and two coxal bones fuse together to form the pelvic girdle. So let us have a look at the diagram of the entire pelvic girdle. So here is the pelvic girdle. You can see here that the pelvic girdle is anteriorly formed by the fusion of two bones. These two bones are the coxa. These are the coxal bones. So this is one coxal bone, and this here is the second coxal bone. This is the second coxal bone. And if we see the structure of each of these coxal bone, these are the coxa, and each coxal bone has the following structure. Each coxal bone is formed by the fusion of three bones. The first and the largest bone of a coxal bone is called as the ilium. So this bone over here is the ilium. This is the ilium. And this bone is the second bone and is called as the ischium. So this bone is the ischium. And third bone which forms our coxal bone is this bone, and this bone is called as the pubis. So these three bones are fused together and they form a common bone called as coxa, and these three bones jointly form a concavity. They enclose a concavity. That concavity or depression is called as the acetabulum. So this is the acetabulum. So acetabulum is jointly formed by these three bones, ilium, ischium, and pubis. The acetabulum or the concavity, this acetabulum or concavity, this provides the articulating facets for the head of the thigh bone, forming a joint called as the hip joint. So hip joint is formed when the head of the thigh bone articulates with the acetabulum of the coxal bone. Apart from this acetabulum, there is present also a wide opening. This wide opening is called as the obturator foramen. So these coxal bones, each of the coxal bone also encloses or also contains a wide opening. That opening is called as the obturator foramen. Obturator foramen is formed by only two bones. Obturator foramen is formed by ischium and pubis. So this is formed by only ischium and pubis, while as acetabulum was formed jointly by all the three bones, ischium, ilium and pubis. This obturator foramen is formed only by the two bones, which is ischium and pubis. Obturator foramen is the foramen. It is the opening through which blood vessels and nerves pass. So let us have a relook at the entire structure of the pelvic girdle. So in this pelvic girdle, if I label the different parts, these are the coxa. This is the coxa here. This is another coxa, and each coxa will be having three parts. And the region that has been highlighted in gray, this represents the concavity or the acetabulum. So there are two acetabulum in the pelvic girdle. To the one acetabulum will be attached one thigh bone, and towards other will be attached another thigh bone. So the two coxal bones are attached in the middle. They are attached in the middle by means of a white fibrous cartilage. So this white fibrous cartilage in the middle, in this middle, you will see a white structure, white colored structure. This is actually a white fibrous cartilage. This white fibrous cartilage is called as the pubic symphysis. Pubic symphysis. So the two coxal bones in pelvic girdle are held together by means of a white fibrous cartilage. It is a white fibrous cartilage known as pubic symphysis. Now this pubic symphysis, it partially dissolves in case of the women at the time of childbirth. So at the time towards the end of the gestation period, pubic symphysis is partially dissolved in order to allow for the easy childbirth. Towards the back side, you can see towards the back side of pelvic girdle is present the sacrum. So towards its back side is present sacrum, and it also has the coccyx or the coccygeal vertebrae. Together all these four structures, that is the two coxal bones, sacrum and the coccyx, they form a basin-like structure in which the urinary bladder is located. So this was about the pelvic girdle. So this was about pelvic girdle, and here one more thing that is to be labeled is this foramen obturator or the obturator foramen. So let us label this too. This is the obturator foramen. This is obturator foramen. This is the structure. This is the opening through which blood vessels and nerves will. Now after discussing about the pelvic girdle, now let us have a look at the bones present in our this limb. So the bones present in our hind limb, they include, our hind limb has three parts. So the first part of our hind limb, is called as, the first part or anterior part of hind limb is called as the thigh. So our thigh has only one bone. There is only one bone present in our thigh, one bone in thigh. This bone is called as the femur bone. So the bone that makes our thigh, that is only one bone, that is called as the femur bone. Femur bone is also commonly called as the thigh bone. Femur bone is the longest bone of our body. So it is the longest bone of our body, number one. This is also the strongest bone of our body. Femur is the strongest bone of our body. A person's height is determined by the length of its femur bone. Longer the femur bone, the taller the person will be. So as far as this femur bone is concerned, femur bone has the following structure. Let us have a look at the structure of the femur bone. So here is our femur bone. So on the left it is anterior view, and towards the right you can see the posterior view. As far as this femur bone is concerned, it has following parts. It has a round cap-like structure. This cap-like structure is called as the head. And apart from head, there are present two tuberosities which are respectively called as greater trochanter. So this is here the greater trochanter. This will be again the greater trochanter, and the lower one, lesser one, will be called as the lesser trochanter. So this is here the lesser trochanter. The remaining parts of this femur bone include a shaft. So this is the shaft, and towards the posterior end are present roundish structures. These are called as the condyles. So these are here two condyles. One is present towards the median side of body, therefore that will be called as median condyle, and the one that is present towards the lateral side will be called as lateral condyle. For example, here this end is the lateral end, this is the lateral side, and this end is the median side. So this is the median side. right? So this will be again median side, and this side will be the lateral side. This is the lateral side. Accordingly, these condyles are named as the lateral condyles, and the median condyles. So this will be again here median condyle. In between these two condyles is present a fossa. So that is called as intercondylar fossa. Intercondylar fossa. So that is present between two condyles. Apart from this, in the posterior region, there is also present a notch which is called as the patellar notch. Patellar notch is a structure on which the patellar bone is present, over which patellar bone is present, making our knee joint. So this notch is here called as a patellar notch. So patellar notch is actually located on the femur bone. So here you can see in this diagram here, this is actually the knee joint. Knee joint has this small tiny bone over here. I don't know whether you are able to see this or not. So this is actually the patellar bone. So this patellar bone is actually located over the patellar notch of the femur bone. So this was about the femur bone. So now let us talk about the shank. So this was, first was the thigh. The second part of our hind limb is called as the shank. So as far as the shank is concerned, shank, or this is also called as leg, the shank is formed of the two bones. In shank are present two bones. Unlike thigh, which had only one bone, shank has two bones. The two bones that are present in our shank include one tibia and one fibula. The tibia is the thicker bone. It is thicker of the two bones, while as the fabula is the thinner bone. Let us have a look at these two bones. So as far as these two bones are concerned, they have the following structure. So these are the tibia and fabula, the bones of our shank. So as I mentioned, the thinner of the two bones is called as the fibula, and the thicker one is called as the tibia. So tibia is the thicker one. And as far as their positions are concerned, this tibia is present towards the lateral side. So this is the lateral side of the body, and this side is called as the median side. So this is the median side, right? So it is while as tibia is medially located, while as fabula is laterally located. So as far as these two bones are concerned, these have also few important structures. For example, it has condyles. These are the condyles. It will be having these condyles, and it will have the corresponding depressions or facets for articulating with the condyles of the femur bone. So condyles of femur bone articulate with the corresponding facets on the tibia. So tibia has corresponding facets for articulating with the condyles of the femur bone. In between these two facets is present the intercondylar prominence. So this is here called as the intercondylar prominence. Intercondylar prominence. Another important feature of these bones is the presence of the two prominences. So the two prominences include, one is called as the prominence that is formed by the thinner bone, that is fibula, that is called as the lateral malleolus, while as the prominence that is formed by the thicker bone or the tibia bone, that is called as the median malleolus. These malleoluses are they make the prominences of our ankle. So you can see here ankle. Our ankle has two prominences. Our ankle has prominence towards the median side, and our ankle has prominence towards the lateral side. So these prominences are formed by two different bones. The prominences of our ankle, they are formed by the two different bones. For example, the lateral prominence of our ankle is formed by the lateral malleolus of which bone? Of the thinner bone, that is the fabula. So the lateral prominence of our ankle is formed by the fabula. It is formed by the fabula. It is the prominence of the fabula, which is called as the lateral malleolus. Similarly, the median prominence is formed by the prominence that arises from the tibia, the thicker bone. Right? So this is formed by the inner prominence of our ankle is formed by the tibia, and its prominence is in fact called as a median malleolus. So malleolus forms the prominences of our ankle. So this was about the two bones of the shank. So we have seen that our shank has two bones, one tibia and one fabula. Tibia, please remember this important point. Tibia is present medially, fabula is present laterally. Fabula is the thinner of the two, while as tibia is the thicker one. Our ankle prominences are formed by the prominences of these two bones. The lateral prominence of our ankle is formed by the fibula, while as the median prominence of our ankle is formed by the fibula. So this was about the bones of the shank. Finally, we will now talk about the third and final part of our hind limb, that is the foot. So let us talk about now the foot. As far as our foot is concerned, it is formed of the three parts. Foot has three parts. The first part of our foot is called as the ankle, that is ankle. The middle part of our foot is also called as forefoot. The middle part of our foot is called as the sole, and the third part of our foot are the toes or the digits. So I am sorry here, written incorrect spellings, I'm sorry. So this is ankle here. So ankle, sole and toes, they are the three parts of our foot, and these are together, our foot is formed of the maximum number of the bones. For example, our foot is formed of some 26 bones. 26 bones are present in our foot alone. So first we will talk about the ankle. As far as our ankle is concerned, the bones that are present in our ankle, they are called as tarsals. They are called as tarsals. So we have 7 tarsals in our ankle. So our ankle is formed of the 7 tarsals. Please recall that our wrist was formed of 8 bones. Those were called as the carpals. While as the bones that make our ankle, they are called as the tarsals. Similarly, our sole is formed of 5 bones. Those 5 bones are called as metatarsals. So our sole is formed of 5 bones. Those 5 bones are called as the tarsals. And our toes, they are formed of the tiny bones which are called as the phalanges. And the total number of phalanges present in each foot are 14. So there are 14 phalanges in that present in our the toes. So let us have a look at now the image of our foot. So this is our foot. Here is the foot, and this part over here, this region, this represents the ankle. So up to this is the ankle. This is the ankle part, right? And this part over here, this region represents the sole. This represents the sole, and this region represents the digits. So this is the digits. So let me highlight them in different colors. So this region represents the ankle. This is the ankle, or what is also called as forefoot. So this is the forefoot, right? And this region represents the sole or midfoot. This is the midfoot or the sole. And finally, the terminal part, that is the digits. So these are the digits. So this is the different parts of our foot. So let us now discuss about them in some detail. So here, this is the expanded version of the foot. So here is upside down model. So you can see here, this portion, this represents our forefoot. So first part, this is the mid part. This is the forefoot, this is the mid part, and this is the hind foot. So actually this part is represented by this part. This is represented by the tarsals, and the number of tarsals that we have, they are 7 in number. So if I label them, the name of these tarsals, they include this tarsal over here. This is called as the calcaneum. This is called as calcaneum. So this is the calcaneum. Calcaneum is actually our heel. Heel of our foot is formed by the calcaneum. So heel is formed of this very bone, this tarsal, that is calcaneum. Another bone is this bone. So this bone, let me highlight this entire bone here. This bone is called as the talus. This tarsal is called as talus. And the remaining bones include this bone over here. This is called as the cuboid. This bone over here is the naviculus. So this is the naviculus. And these 3 bones, these are called as the cuneiform. So these 3 bones, 1, 2, and 3. These 3 bones are called as the cuneiform. So let us enlist them separately. So our foot, our ankle is formed of 7 tarsals. These 7 tarsals include, number 1, the first tarsal is called as calcaneum. Calcaneum forms the heel. Number 2 is called as talus. Number 3 is called as the navicular. And number 4 is called as cuboid. And the remaining 3 are collectively called as cuneiform. And remaining, that is 5th, 6th and 7th, they are collectively called as cuneiform. First cuneiform, second cuneiform and third cuneiform. So they represent our ankle. Ankle is represented by 7 tarsals, and then we have 5 metatarsals. These are 5 metatarsals. This is the first metatarsal, this is second metatarsal, this is third one, this one is 4th, and this one is 5th. Then we have phalanges, and like the phalanges are present in our hands, the phalangeal formula remains the same. That is the first digit, the first toe, the great toe or big toe, that is here called as hallux. It is called as hallux. Hallux is the big toe. Hallux is big toe. This big toe is formed of 2 phalanges. This is formed of 2 phalanges. And all other digits, all other toes are formed of 3 phalanges each. So the phalangeal formula for each of the foot will remain same as that of the phalangeal formula of our hand. That is, the phalangeal formula for foot will also be 2:3:3:3:3, which means that the big toe has 2 phalanges and the other toes have 3 phalanges each. So they will add up to a total of the 14 phalanges. So 14 phalanges. Let us now count all these bones in a diagram above here. So let us now count all these bones one by one. So this was about tibia and fabula. This is tibia and fabula. That is the shank part. This is formed of 2 bones. So these are the 2 bones. And we have one femur bone. So that will be 1 bone, right? And then we have tarsals. Tarsals are how many bones? 7 bones. And then we have metatarsals. Metatarsals are how many? They are 5 bones. And we have phalanges. Phalanges are how many? We have 14 phalanges. So if you add these, they will add up to be 29 bones. The last one bone is the patellar bone. So that is over here. This patellar bone is the small tiny bone which is located over the patellar notch. So with the patellar bone, with one patellar bone, we have a total of 30 bones present in each of our limb. So let us count them one more time. 14 plus 5 will be 19. 19 plus 7 will be 26. 26 plus 2 will be 28. 28 plus 1 will be 29 plus 1 patellar bone, that will be equal to a total of the 30 bones. So these 30 bones are present in each of our limbs. So this completes our appendicular skeleton. So we have seen that our appendicular skeleton is formed of a total of 126 bones. These 126 bones include 60 bones present in each of our limbs. Forelimbs have 60 bones, hind limbs have 60 bones, and then we have 6 bones present in our girdles, 4 in the pectoral girdle and 2 in the pelvic girdle. So we have seen that the appendicular skeleton has following bones. It has number 1 bone, that is, it has 60 bones in forelimbs, 60 bones in hind limbs, and the 6 bones in girdles. So these will add up to a total of 126 bones. So with this we have completed the human skeletal system. In next video we will now talk about the joint.